G'day everyone. So one of the most requested things on my channel is please share a um, build guide. So I did get most of this build guide off someone else. I will have a link to that video in the description. But for right now, let's go through the build and see what we have. So first off, we will go through the skills. The movement ability that we use to zoom around the entire map is a Savage Charge. With Savage Charge, we use Mark to debuff the enemies and give plus 32.75% additional damage to marked enemies. That just makes our Iris hit even harder. Hardened for additional damage. Actually, it's for the chance to gain Hardened, which is negative 25% additional damage taken for 4 seconds. Guard, which is extra barrier absorption and gives you a barrier if there is no barrier. Second off is another defensive layer, Frost Shield with Rhythm to automatically cast that, and defensive layers. This is great because the energy shield cannot be interrupted by damage for 2 seconds when the energy shield begins to charge. Next off, we have Elemental Shock, which is a debuff for the enemies of 31% elemental resist, and minions deal additional damage. This is triggered by Rhythm, so we never have to press anything, supported by Mass Effect and Mania. Our main damage is from the Summon Frost Spirit, using Cold Penetration, Freeze Chance, Elemental Duo, Savage Growth, and Elemental Fusion. You can switch out Savage Growth for where is it? Spell Concentration if you want to do massive single target damage. If you are going for I'll get that for the test dummy actually. I haven't leveled it up, but that's fine. You could put that on for single target, Path of the Brave farming, or boss farming if you really need it, but the damage that this build outputs, you don't really need it. Especially not for mapping. You could switch that out for even increased AoE effect, for even faster clear, but seriously, you can clear like a monster. Nourishment of Life is a standard for all Iris builds. It's just more initial growth for your minions, supported by Rhythm, so you never have to cast it, extended duration, and Mass Effect. Our auto defense uses defensive layers, protection field, transfers a portion of the damage to the minions. Auto defense just casts it every 0.5 seconds. Obviously, it still honors the cooldown of the skill. It's level 43 from the talents. Seal conversion, so it seals life instead of mana, and energy shield for that massive energy shield boost. Trigger while channeling. We are constantly channeling because we're using Savage Charge to just run around the map. Trigger while channeling has blurry steps and extended duration. And Mania, this is a big one. You don't want to level up your Mania because it will cause you to, well, the higher the Mania, the higher the negative additional duration for the supported skill is, which reduces the length that blurry steps is active. And if Mania is too high, then you'll stop your blurry steps and then you'll have this lag effect as you are running around the map. So make sure you buy a level 1. I think you can get up to level 6, but honestly I just stopped at level 4 because it felt good. And finally we have Frigid Domain. I had the precise drop, that's why I put that on, with Elemental Amplification, Steadfast for extra armor, Elemental Res, because why not, and Precise Swiftness. Now, you want Precise Swiftness at level 1 because you don't care about the movement speed, you care about the 5% cooldown recovery speed. That is massive for this build, as we want to give the Frost Spirits as much cooldown recovery speed as possible. For our soul candles, I have a +2 cold skill, +2 minion skill. And on the other one, I have a -8% sealed mana for aura skills and a +2 cold skill level. Next, we'll look at the talents. Our 3 talent trees are God of Machines, Alchemist, and Warlock. God of Machines utilizes orders and isomorphic arms. Alchemist utilizes Source for -50% sealed mana from Spirit Magus, as well as Empower skill effect, and Talons of the Abyss for the every 20 growth a Spirit Magus has, it has 1% additional damage. If you don't know, additional damage is a multiplier, much like more damage in Path of Exile. And finally, Warlock, we have Indifference for cooldown recovery speed. And it's great because it gives -10% additional cast speed for minions, or 20% minion cast speed, which is fantastic because we don't want our frost spirits attacking too quickly because of the stacking and power buff that it gives. And Off the Beaten Track is +4 support skill level as well, which is fantastic. Going through the skills, I'll just let you pause whenever you want there. Alchemist, and finally Warlock. Notice we don't get any of this stuff because it's not really that great. 9% damage, who cares? Movement speed, well, blur is active. Maybe, might be great, but we always have blur from blurry steps. Mana, doesn't really matter. Damage, and alley res. If you seriously need that alley res, yeah, I don't see why you would ever need that much alley res. Alright, Statue of the New God. Basically what you want on all of these, obviously mine aren't great because I could have these 2 slots filled. You want a Pedigree of the Gods with Knowledgeable because +10 defensive skill effect is phenomenal, and also 55% Empower skill effect. Empower is everything with this build. It's nice to have some crit strike rating, crit strike damage, minion damage, and unfortunately the Sentry's skill critical strike rating does nothing for us. My other ones are just +1 spell skill level. We managed to get some sealed mana on there, and that's about it. Some, regen. You just want plus skill levels, +1 minion skills, +1 cold skills, and whatever other stats that you can. If you get the Order and Chaos change that gives additional minion damage at every point of chaos, that is massive. Unfortunately, I have not really got that so far. I haven't put that much effort into Slates because this build gets to mapping, and once you have put a little bit of money into it, or flame elements into it, it starts to absolutely blitz through the maps. Next up, we have the hero traits. Now, hero traits are pretty important with this build, just because of your ability to just hold down right click and savage charge through everything makes this a massive quality of life build. Starting off with the Strange Knitting Needle, you want a percentage of your Empower skill. Bonus applies to Spirit Magus. That is pretty huge, and this top part enables you to not have to press a button. So it triggers level 8 Dazzling Bloom if there is an enemy within 8 meters when granting nourishment. Now, that just means that every time we get near an elite monster, our frost spirits teleport on top of that monster and we don't have to press a button. Next up, we have Spirit Magi, cooldown recovery speed, and sealed mana for Spirit Magus skills. I don't know why it goes Magus, Magi, Magus. I just do them the same. Next up, this is a very expensive item. Windcatcher action, make sure you get the one with Growing Breeze. You can get them with +3 max nourishment stacks if you're rich. If not, just get one of these for, these were about 400 when I was looking. Don't get tricked into buying a Wind Rider. You definitely want Growing Breeze. And this is absolutely core to the build. Without this, it does not work. You want you who are calm in the 4th engram slot. So if you're buying a relic and the 4th slot is not accessible, do not buy it. It is worthless. Triggers the Empower skill when your Frost Spirit takes damage. Cooldown 3 seconds. Don't get a 4-second, get a 3-second. That is absolutely core for the build. Without a 3-second and a ton of cooldown recovery speed, this build is not that fantastic. Going through the points here. Friends, we are struggle free. We shall protect you. Socialite and grow with it. All right, what do we have next? Next up, we have gear. Now, gear is a tricky one. Most of my gear is self-crafted. So going through the gear, I can vastly improve my gear actually. I got it all pretty cheaply. Fiend Crowns are super cheap at the moment. They give minions critical strike damage and minions gain lucky. So it rolls twice and gives you the best result, which is phenomenal. And also negative, excuse me, 6 to 10% sealed mana, which is fantastic. Core to the build is Friend Nemesis. Where is it? Spirit Magi take 1000 secondary physical damage when they are not at full life. This pairs with To You Who Are Calm, and they continue to cast their Empower skill on that cooldown. Next up, we have a necklace. This is unique to this season. Before this season, to make this work, you would have to go the super expensive route, which would be a Warden's Breastpin, corroded to give minions cannot deal physical damage. This season, you can get this tier 2 version of the Warden's Breastpin buff, which is 33% crit strike rating, and crit strike damage is also applied to minions. And then the other things that you want on the amulet, max ES, gear, not gear ES, cold skill level, crit strike damage, crit strike rating, and I can't think of what, let me look that up. Ideally, you would have active skill level instead of max mana, but luckily enough for me, I managed to hit the crit strike rating and crit strike damage on the tier 1 and lower it by 1. Anyway, this is a translation issue. It says downgrade the number 1 affix to tier 1. It means it will downgrade the number 1 affix by 1 tier. Otherwise, that would be tier 1. And that'd be fantastic. Moving on. Gloves, you just want spell skill level, gear ES, percentage ES, a resistance that you need. Crit strike damage would be ideal, and more resistance if you need it. Going on, Winter of Origin. Now this is pretty huge for this class. You want one with 3 additional stacks of Focus Blessing and 20% additional cooldown recovery speed when you have no less than 3 stacks of Focus Blessing. If these two do not, if they don't align, then you won't get the additional cooldown recovery speed unless you own additional Focus Blessing stacks on your slates, which you can get +2 from there. That would be ideal. However, my slates are lacking that, so these had to align. If you don't have that, I'll show you afterwards what that will do to your damage. Boots, you want movement speed, resistances, gear ES, max ES, and these 2 parts are actually kind of garbage because I haven't done the tier 0 Gamba. I have the base there ready to go. I just haven't got around to it. So movement speed, resistances, gear ES, max ES, and something else. I can't think. But just get something that makes you tankier. Rings you want for every 48 growth. Spirit Magus has plus 1% additional damage. You can get like 650 growth, so that is like 15% additional damage, which is huge. You go for defense. Defense is the sum of armor, evasion, and ES. ES, ES, ES. The more ES you have, the more tank you have. Minion damage and some resistances. Again, I could go for a tier 0, but when I was crafting this gear, I wasn't mega rich like I am now, and yeah, so that can improve. But I wouldn't do it on a heated ring. I would do it on an Aurora ring. So Aurora's base affix is plus % max energy shield, which is huge. It'll give you an extra, 1000 ES over having a heated ring of exactly the same. Again, 48 growth, minion damage, resistances, and defense instead of XP earned. I could go the Gamba again and do minion damage and hopefully remove that XP earned, but I'm pretty happy with that at the moment. I can do 8-2 deep space pretty easily. Alrighty, onto the weapon. This is the mega expensive part to craft. You want spell skill level, you want tier 0 additional cast speed and additional spell damage. You want tier 0 cooldown recovery speed. So when you are crafting the item, just remember that you can get 2 tier 0s from prototype crafting, and then you'll have to target craft on the tier 0 of the other one. It's always a 1.75% chance when target crafting. But if you buy a base with spell skill level and additional spell damage, then that'll probably set you back about 100 flame elementium. Then you want spell crit strike damage and spell crit strike rating, and so that is all of the exact stats that you want, because your minions benefit from spell critical strike rating and spell critical strike damage. That ties in with the Warden's Breastpin. I'll show you that quickly. So a standard Warden's Breastpin has passive skill levels, minion damage. Your minions can only deal physical damage. This would make our Iris do 0 damage. And 97% of crit strike rating and damage is also applied to minions. That would be great on a Boom Moto. And now I'll show you the other one that you actually want of these if you have Buku Cash. So here is the one that you really want. Your minions cannot deal physical damage. That crit strike rating is pretty low, so 2800 is probably a bit hexy for that. This one is 99%. So theoretically that is 3 times better than my amulet for the crit strike rating, crit strike damage for 3200 flame elementium. You can get other ones with minion max life. That's great for Boon Moto, but really you want one with your minions cannot deal physical damage and this to be tier 0 as well. But I dare say that will be one of these. Yep. So 17,000 flame elementium, which is pretty bonkers. You can have a go at corroding that yourself, but like 15,000. Oh, 4,000. Why is that one only 4,000? I mean, it's not bad. Maybe I'll buy it. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Alrighty, so notice how the minions are exploding every single tick of damage. If I remove the Winter of Origin, it's far less. It's like every 3 ticks or something. So I'm effectively doing 33% of the damage I was before because my cooldown recovery speed is not fast enough. Actually, what's this one? This one is a 3 and a 3 as well. Okay, so that doesn't even count. I thought it was a 3-4. I found that in my inventory the other day. So looking at the damage on the test dummy, is about 100 billion damage when you're zooming around the map. These are in drop pack scripts. I haven't really found a need to get into damage pack scripts at all. Let's quickly check what it looks like with spell concentration. Maybe it needs to be level 20. There's no way that is doing 50 billion damage. With 33% additional damage. Why far art thou doing weird things? Hmm. 29. What the hell? Weird. Anyway. I always just use Savage Growth anyway. For quality of life. Now, if you're... I can quickly show that Mania thing as well. So, Savage Charge on the trigger while channeling. I'll change that for a level 20. So you'll be charging around. And did you see that slight stop? It looks like a stagger. It's quite annoying to see. You just avoid that with having a lower level Mania. And then you can just charge around forever. Because it recasts before it's finished. Let's do a quick 8-2 map just to showcase the damage. 8-2 deep space, why not? Go on this one. I don't have any Netherrealm resonance on me. Give me 1 second. I have a little bit in the stash. This is just from 3 days worth of farming on this build. You can build this entire build for about 4,000 flame elementium. The rest is just extra, and that's not even proper farming. That's just been making other videos for the YouTubes. So 8-2 deep space, fully juiced, and we shall go. Now, if you get God of War on here as well, I don't know what I'm even building, but that doesn't matter. Bring up the map, and then all you have to do is charge around and collect loot. It is a very easy build to play. You can make upwards of, sometimes if you're lucky, you can make, 1,000 flame elementium an hour, if you are super lucky. I have made 1,000 flame elementium an hour a couple of times, but most of my playtime goes to making videos. So as you can see, you just charge past, run back, grab loot, grab the lightning ball of zippiness. Oh, more loot. I should probably just map properly since it's an 8-2. And these are what, 16 flame elementium each. But that's the boss. Leave and do whatever you want. It's good for God of Machines. It's good for God of War. It's good for City of Eterna. It's good for everything. And yeah, so that is the build guide for Frost Iris speed farming. It's good to go, 100 billion damage. It's good for doing like Keegan and stuff. Let's do a Keegan. Keegan's kind of funny, actually. Keegan can drop a familiar Nexus, which are going for, I assume, a lot. So he's about to... Yep, there he goes. And he's down to phased. He'll go back, do his thing, and then he'll die. Now the thing about this one is that first wave looks like, well, it would kill you. And that second wave actually does no damage. So you can completely ignore it. You just run it across to the side, avoid those little bits of damage, and he's dead. We got a familiar Nexus, so that's pretty lucky. He always drops the Dark Surge. Make sure you use your own portal as it comes up near the Nexus and not across the other side of the map. Familiar Nexus are worth... Holy crap, they're worth 100 Flame Elementium at the moment. That's actually crazy. I'm going to make a Keegan video. Anyway, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.